Thanks for joining me today. Hope you're on your afternoon drive as we tune into the soundtrack of Emotional Avoidance. We're on volume 5. Count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes in to our Divorced Dad Rock playlist. I am your host, Jeremy Schumacher. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and we're going on a little time travel journey back to the early 2000s, where we're going to look at the vapid, emotional, and frail masculinity of popular rock from the 2000s, colloquially known as divorced dad rock or butt rock or chin rock, as it does sound like these guys are really trying to sing their way through their chins. The music that we chose today is a bit of progress, not emotionally, but we do have a female singer today, so that is a good change of pace, a welcome change of pace. Somebody who actually sounds good, is exciting when you're listening to a bunch of this type of music. We are doing Seether's Broken featuring Amy Lee. This is the second version of the song. Seether originally released the song in 2002 and then re-recorded it in 2004, adding Amy Lee to the mix, which admittedly, much better song. The song was quite popular. It was featured on the soundtrack to Punisher, which came out in 2004, which isn't good. If there's ever a comic book character that I'm not super inclined to cover on any of my mental health analyses, it's probably the Punisher. Certainly not a Garth Ennis version of the Punisher, because, man, that'll make me lose faith in humanity for how many people get that thing wrong. But yeah, that wasn't very good. Honestly, the song's not very good. It is better by Amy Lee being in the vocals. Amy Lee was either dating or already had broken up with the lead singer at this point. So there's some nuance here. We'll get into it. I think maybe let's start with the song. Everybody, this is Broken by Seether. Okay, let's pause it there. Man, this might be like the funniest. I'm not musically talented, so I'm not going to record myself trying to sing, put it on the internet. But you do just sort of like imagine a lawnmower starting, and I really think you can get into this guy's vocal range. I wanted you to know. I said I wasn't going to do it. And when I sing in front of people, I just default into country, because I think if you put enough twang on it, you can pass for, you can cover your lack of musical talent, which I am owning. You can get real gravelly with it, though. And I think that's funny, because doing an impression of a lawnmower starting is a better way than just talking about your feelings, I guess. This song is a little tough, and honestly, the next song I'm going to do is a little tough too, because the writers have spoken about how they wrote it for their kids, actually, and I can maybe hold a little bit more space. It certainly does fit the divorced dad rock, tuning into FM XDAD. That, yeah, you're thinking about your kid being gone, but also it's definitely about an adult relationship because that's what's going to get more radio play. So while I believe there may have been some inspiration for Missing Your Kid, it really doesn't come through in the song, especially when it's with your current and or soon to be recently ex that you're singing the duet with. So yeah, the song's about a breakup, not just the breakup, missing the kid, but like intercontinental, right? See, there's a band from South Africa, and so when they came to America, leaving the family behind, going through a divorce, missing your kid. Okay, like I can hold space for that. That is not what comes through in the song. But a little bit of in Seether's defense, I guess. I'm trying to not be mean to people who miss their kids. I wanted you to know that I love the way you laugh is, I mean, that's not Romeo and Juliet, is it? This is not a Shakespearean sonnet professing our love. It's pretty basic. And I think, again, like, sense of humor is really great and somewhat universal in a thing that we find attractive in other people. When someone laughs in a way that we like feel good, that we've made them laugh. When somebody makes us laugh, that makes us feel good. Lots of feel good drugs released in the brain. That's good and bonding. I think it's the way he delivers the line that just seems so over the top to be such a like lukewarm. When things were good, and like, of course, right? That's not the basis of a relationship. Honestly, more of like, what is it like when it's neutral? Because things are rarely always good or always bad. What's like a random Tuesday look like? And again, if sense of humor is there, great, love that. But if you feel like you need to clarify that this person didn't know that you loved that about them, perhaps you should have spoken about that earlier, because again, it feels pretty tepid when it comes to love. And then it just moves into like, again, sort of plot device, right? The dead wife trope. This is, I missed this person being in my life because they did a thing for me more than like anything about the person. I want to hold you high and steal your pain away, right? Like, I have purpose by existing to provide a service for you is not a mutually respectful relationship, right? It's sort of this like, I don't know, male power fantasy of wanting to be in charge of people. I protect my woman, therefore I'm good with women, is like not actually how that works. So I think it's very time capsule-y, like of the time. I can see where that, I mean, there are people who still do this, right? There's still people who talk about women as if they have no autonomy and really need a man in their lives. And that's bullshit and like the opposite of feminism. But in a lot of sort of modern culture war bullshit, like the trans issues, like about protecting girls and protecting women's sports, and like, no, it's not. It's about you being a bigot, and because you think women have no autonomy, you're going to make the decisions for them because you are carrying water for the patriarchy. And so again, like it's very patriarchal, it's very hierarchical, top down. I'm more powerful than you, and look at me, don't you appreciate me using my power to protect you when I could be harming you? It's the implication, you see. And I think it just is, there's nothing there then. I keep your photograph, I know it serves me well. Again, like it's all service oriented. This does this thing for me, I do this thing for you. It's very transactional. But even in the photograph, it's like, this does the thing for me. I don't actually need you here. I don't require you to do something for me. And then it's going to pivot in the chorus where it's I'm nothing without you. I can't be complete without you. And again, it's just so, it feels weighty, but it's not. It's the opposite. There's nothing there. There's no substance. You need someone to complete you because you haven't done your own work yet. You're not an entity that is going to be attractive to another person because you require them to do all the emotional labor for you, right? I can't be complete unless you're here with me. isn't romantic. That's not a selling point. I could wrap my head around some version of like, I want to be a better version of myself with you. Um, the things that you do well bring out the best in me. Sure, like again, I would love for that to be a little bit more self-starterish, but to have the idea that relationships make life easier and that is why we get into them. We partner off because two heads are better than one. Sure, like yeah, I'm a marriage therapist. I'm on board. And I think again, that's why we get like forced heteronormativity, why we have sort of like such a privileged status for monogamy. Some of these things sound loving and become very restrictive very quickly. They aren't adaptable, they're rigid, and rigid things break. They become brittle and break. And so I can't be healthy unless you're in my life is like, oh, red flag. It's all very, I'm not going to do my work. I feel better when you're around, and therefore I need you to be around for me, is not relational. It's just really selfish, actually. Let's see if Amy Lee can provide some insight. Spoiler, she cannot. It's almost like a dude wrote this song. Verse 2. Oh, interrupting the guitar solo. It's okay. It's the early 2000s. The guitar solos weren't that great. I was going to say, like, I'd listen to her sing the phone book, but I think she put out a solo album that no one, including myself, listened to. So that probably isn't true. She does have a really nice voice. The words she's given to sing don't really add much. Again, I think certainly centering that it's written by a dude is helpful to understand like why we don't get emotional depth. And the song, from a songwriting perspective, is like, fine, it's going to reference verse 1. That's fine. I want to hold you high and steal your pain away. But again, I think a couple of things. It's written by a dude, so I'm not going to be so naive as to say, oh, the girl's singing now, so that means it's different. But because it is delivered in the female voice, the worst is over now and we can breathe again. For a relationship that's ended is like, hey, this wasn't healthy and I wasn't calm. I wasn't myself. I wasn't able to relax in it, right? We did the split. We had the custody battle. We got our own places. Whatever that worst is, I'm calmer and more relaxed away from you. That's not what we want in a relationship. And I'm somebody who sees couples sort of come to peaceful dissolution of their relationship, right? Like I'm somebody who sees people figure it out and reinvest and do the work and get better. And I'm somebody who sees people sort of say, hey, this chapter of our life needs to end. We planted something and it grew, and now we're in a different season and we're going to plant something else. And I think that's valid. And I think the idea that every relationship that doesn't end in a happily ever after forever and ever is preposterous. There's the opportunity to have really important people in our lives, really important relationships in our lives that are fruitful and meaningful for a period of time, and it's okay for that to end sometimes. So again, it's a weird sort of inflection point on like I'm calmer with this relationship being over, and then it moves back into like, but I'm not myself without you. Just super male centric. Um, there's so much left to learn and no one left to fight. That sounds more profound, I think, than it is. Again, none of these songs have great emotional depth. They're usually telling on themselves more than they're actually providing anything worth analyzing. Um, we're not fighting, right? There's no one left to fight. There's no fight left to have with you. We're not fighting for it. We're not interested in continuing this thing. There's so much left to learn. Like we learn things in relationships as they come to an end. Ideally, we learn things from every relationship. And so we learn enough about who we are in a partnership and what kind of partner we do best with. And that's, again, a mutual thing, right? What are we bringing to the table and what are we looking for? What are we attracting and what are we attracted to? It's the both and instead of the either or. There's obviously lots of people left to fight. 9 billion people on the planet. You haven't dated all of them. So I like that there's so much left to learn and no one left to fight. Again, it's just not great songwriting. It sounds great. Like, again, this song as a duet works a ton better and sounds a lot better. One of the things that I think is really interesting, though, is as we get into the second chorus, it shifts from I'm broken when I'm lonesome, chorus 1, I don't feel right when you're gone away, to chorus 2, I'm broken not when I'm lonesome, when I'm open, because I'm broken when I'm open. And like that gives the whole game away for this whole genre of music is I'm gonna attempt to be vulnerable and it makes me feel too bad, so I'm not gonna do it. Right? Because being vulnerable isn't bad, right? Letting our walls down, connecting with somebody, that's a good thing. We're social creatures. We're mammals, primates even. We like community. We're wired for it. And so that vulnerability is a good thing. And because the toxic masculinity culture is being vulnerable means being weak, is I'm open, I'm broken. Same thing. It's like, oh no, being open is great, right? You're well resourced, you feel safe enough to do that, like you're in a good position. If you're open, things are groovy, you're doing really well, right? And the idea that we could take propaganda and shape it and have this idea of masculinity, and it's not just the early 2000s, right? There's magazines promoting the World Fair in 1908 that's selling a version of masculinity, whether it's hair tonic or it's big muscles or it's pink, because pink used to be a masculine color. How silly is your gender nonsense that something like that it can just flip over time. But this is a long time in creating this sort of gender norm that is unhealthy, right? We've created space that, again, I think holds the patriarchy in place because men are not healthy emotionally to do any sort of labor. And then also those are the people we keep putting in charge. But like women are the emotional ones because they menstruate and therefore they can't be in charge or something. I don't know. There's not a lot of logic to bigotry. I'm broken when I'm open, chorus 2. I don't feel like I'm strong enough, right? And then we hear chorus 1 again, because I'm broken when I'm lonesome. I don't feel right when you're gone away. But again, this is a relationship that has ended. He's literally singing it with his ex, like into context of like, even if the inspiration was, oh no, I miss my kid. You got divorced, but you didn't have to leave the country. That sounds shitty. I don't know. Sean Morgan, lead singer of Seether's actual divorce decree. Maybe he did. Not trying to be judgy on that perspective, what actually happened. But again, like suggesting that there's no responsibility taken. There's no accountability here of like your own actions, right? I'm lonesome because it didn't work out and I'm not going to do any of my work. I'm not going to learn anything. I'm just going to complain about being lonely. And that's somehow your fault, you who left me. And I talked about this in the last video. Again, this imagery of space, this idea of being gone away. So many songs at this time have the gone away in the title, so far away. There's always this idea of space. And with that space becomes some self-analysis, but like it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just this sort of empty longing, as opposed to like with space, with intention, I am able to grow and be better. It's just empty. It's a lot of emptiness. And the emptiness is, there's some awareness around it, but it's not like, oh, and I could do something about that. That's self-directed. There's intention in that. I can take my own responsibility and do my own work and be a better person and attract a better fit and be more attractive to the people I want to attract, right? Like some self-starter-ishness there. Instead of just sort of, again, complaining about it. And so we're weak. We're reiterating that being open, being vulnerable is weakness. And we're saying we're not strong enough because strength is the preferred thing here instead of any sort of emotional maturity, question mark. So yeah, the female voice doesn't add much here. And again, I do think it's curious that they were together and then broke up at some point, just because I think this song with your ex is pretty wild. It's that like, I didn't do Lips of an Angel in this series by Hinder, but I absolutely could have, because that guy's voice, also a little bit of Lawnmower Startup. The again, like the rationalizing the bad behavior while you're cheating on somebody, but you're also in a different relationship. And so that idea of like, this thing needed to end, and then I'm also longing for it, is very prevalent in this song too, of like the duet with my ex, this relationship had to end and I still miss you. You're the one that got away. Right. And like that idea of, that's just telling on yourself. You haven't done your growth then. If you are pining after this past relationship, it's because you haven't done your growth. You haven't gotten to a place where you can be in a healthier relationship. That's on you, not on the other person. Let's hear some lovely instrumentals from 2004. And then we'll hit the chorus one more time on the way out. Oh, I forgot to put the lyrics up for all of you. That's okay. They were just repeated. You got to watch me bop my little head along. There's wind instruments, bro. So you know it's real emotion. Yeah, I mean, again, just that like space. I'm just on this idea of space, like the spaciousness that comes along with getting that full symphony to play in it. I bet this song absolutely slaps live. I don't know how often they performed it together. But yeah, full orchestra, it's moving. But here's the thing, like we're just mammals, right? We hear those sounds and they elicit a response, and that response does all the work. There's no actual effort here in being emotion and being vulnerable. That continuing the idea of like, I'm not strong enough, being openness is being weak. I don't feel right when you're gone away. You've gone away. You don't feel me here anymore. Again, it's so passive sounding and egocentric at the same time. Um, like you've done this thing to me, and there's just no accountability or responsibility taken. There's no growth. There's no learning. Nothing's better. We're in this duet with our ex, and we're not doing anything differently. And so maybe if this is a true divorced dad song and he's writing about his kid being gone away, it's like, yeah, there isn't anything that's going to be different. So that reality might be there, but it's just such a lack of growth. It's such a, what if we have this thing that makes us feel feelings, but it's not based on any specific behavior or action? The winds are doing all the work. The symphony is eliciting a response, but I have nothing new to offer. It's very, I don't know. It's very like entertaining with no substance. Which again, like, I bet it was awesome live. I've seen a lot of fairly mid music that when it's performed live, it's really, really great. Still isn't an In One Ear by Cage the Elephant on a regular basis because I saw them live early in their career, and that song goes hard. And also, it's not a great song. But I think that response is really supposed to elicit something. And again, the idea that this is featured in the soundtrack for a Punisher film that's so laden with symbolism that's been co-opted, that's so connected to people who didn't understand what the story was saying, is pretty funny to me. It's very on brand, I suppose. But yeah, not much here lyrically to analyze. And just that continuation. Again, it adds a relational aspect, especially knowing the backstory that they were in a relationship together, that this duet is sung by partners and or exes, depending on when they were performing it and recording it, which the relational bend is a little different than just sort of the longing we've heard in other songs, the self-victimization, and sort of that victim narrative that we've heard in some of the other songs to this point. Like the relational part is new, and there's nothing there. And again, while I think it's silly to gender the color pink, I also think it's silly to gender emotional immaturity as masculine. We have this idea of toxic masculinity, but there isn't anything that prohibits the female partners, the differently gendered person. It's not just dudes who do this, right? There's plenty of lady folk out there who are not good at emotions either. And so we have to be really careful, even when we're criticizing things like this, into falling into that trap of promoting that gendered nonsense, that the cultural norming that happens around gender, and certainly that gender is beyond binary is the thing that we should also be aware of. That again, our English language, because it's so limiting, we can fall into that really easily. So yeah, a relational aspect is great, exciting to add that piece to it, and also not much here. There's not much in the next two songs we're going to cover other than heavy nostalgia. Some real heavy riffs. They're not that heavy of riffs, but we get to dad rock bands 1 and 2, depending on your flavor, how you order those. We're going to have a Creed song and a Nickelback song coming up. So tune in, because that's fun and exciting. Anytime you get to hear Creed, it's a good day. I'm really selling it, I want you to come back. We're going to have a Creed song, we're going to have a Nickelback song, and then we're going to tie it all together. And then I'll move on to hopefully songs that I like and I can talk about, because that will be better for my own mental health. Like, subscribe, do all those YouTube things. It helps people find my work. when I wrap up this series. If you want to drop down in the comments, let me know what else you'd like to hear me review. If you saw this song live, somebody drop down in the comments and let me know how that was, because I'm assuming it was great. Maybe it was really bad. I don't know. But yes, do all those internet algorithm things that are helpful. I appreciate that. And come on back next week for a Creed song. Whoop, whoop. Take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. Peace.